Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to this episode of The Shepherd's Voice. Everyone in St. Mary's Care Home knew room number 3, not because of the man inside, but because of the candle that never seemed to go out. Father Thomas had been moved there quietly years after a scandal clouded his name. Though no evidence had ever proved him guilty, the damage had already been done. Whispers followed him like shadows. Former parishioners stopped writing. Even some fellow priests avoided him. At first, Thomas was angry, not at God, but at people. Lord, you know I am innocent, he would pray, staring at the tabernacle in a small home chapel. Why then do you stay silent? But every time he stopped waiting for vindication from the world and started waiting for something greater, God himself. One night, during Eucharistic adoration, the reading was from the Gospel of Luke, which said, Be like servants who are waiting for their master to return. And in that moment, something broke inside him, not in despair, but in surrender. He realized he had a choice, either to live the rest of his days in bitterness and self-pity, or keep his lamp lit quietly, faithfully with love. From then on, every evening, he lit a candle in his room at sunset. He called it My Little Vigil Light. And he told the nurse once, smiling, It's just in case the Lord comes tonight. I want him to find me awake. He began praying not only for himself, but for others, especially for those who had hurt him. He prayed for the priests who were struggling, for youth who had lost faith, for families torn apart. Unknown to many, he became a spiritual lifeline for those who came to him quietly, ashamed, broken, or lost. He listened. He never judged. He always had time. Year passed. Father Thomas died peacefully one morning, rosary in his hands, the candle still lit beside him. When they cleared his room, the nurse found dozens of prayer cards, dozens of prayer intentions at his bed, filled with names and intentions, even the names of those who had accused him. Each one followed by the words, Forgive them, Lord. Bless them. I wait for you with my lamp lit. His funeral was small at first, but then people began to arrive. A young woman, now a nun, a former addict, now a catechist, a bitter man, now reconciled with his family. None of them knew each other, but all of them had a story about room number 3 and the quiet priest who had waited with hope whom no one else saw. Father Thomas' story is a modern day echo of both the Israelites who waited in darkness for God's deliverance and the servant in Jesus' parable who remained faithful even when no one was watching. It reminds us that the most powerful witness is not always public or loud. Sometimes it's just a single candle burning in the night, lit by someone who believes the Master is coming. And all the readings of today are inviting us to meditate on this aspect. The first reading we see from the book of Wisdom which speaks about foretold deliverance. The reading begins by emphasizing that the night of the deliverance was already made known to the ancestors of Israel. God does not act randomly. He prepares His people and reveals His plan in advance. This shows that salvation history unfolds according to God's faithful promises. The second important thing we should see from the reading is faith in the promise. Even before they experienced freedom, the Israelites trusted in God's word. Their confidence wasn't based on visible signs, but on the assurance of God's covenant. This highlights how true faith measures, or how true faith means trusting in God's plan, even when the outcome is not yet seen. The third thing that we see in the reading is justice for the righteous. The text contrasts the fate of the righteous with that of their enemies. While Egypt faced judgment, the faithful were delivered. This reveals a kind of key biblical theme wherein God sees and acts on behalf of the innocent, ensuring that justice prevails in the end. The fourth important thing that we see is the power of communal prayer. The Israelites gathered and prayed in unity, which played a significant role in their deliverance. It reminds that prayer is not just individual but also communal. God listens to the united voice of His people, especially in times of trial. The fifth thing we should see is shared blessing of faith. As the faithful awaited deliverance, they shared in hope and eventually in the blessings that came. This shows that salvation is not only personal but shared within a community of believers bound together by faith and trust in God. While in the Gospel we see Jesus speaks of watchful and faithful servants through the parable. And it says, do not fear, do not fear. Jesus opens this section with a reassuring message. Do not be afraid, little flock. This reflects the heart of the gospel, that God is a loving Father who wants to give His kingdom. We are not to live in anxiety, but in trust and hope. The second thing is the heavenly treasure. Jesus teaches that real treasure lies not in wealth or possessions, but in the life of charity and generosity. When we give to others and live simply, we'll store up treasures in heaven, a lasting reward that cannot be lost or stolen. The third important thing that the gospel gives us message is be ready, be ready. The image of servants waiting for their master's return reminds us to live in a state of spiritual readiness. Christ may come at any moment, and we are called to be vigilant, not asleep or distracted by the world, but active in our faith. The fourth important theme that we see in the gospel is faithfulness is always rewarded. Jesus promises that those who remain faithful and responsible in their duties will be blessed. It is not about being or doing great things, but about being consistently trustworthy in whatever role or task God has entrusted or given with us. The fifth important theme, greater responsibility, greater accountability. The reading ends with a serious reminder: the more we have received in faith, knowledge, or authority, the more God expects from us. This is especially true for leaders and those who are entrusted with the care of the others. Responsibility is a gift, but also a call to a deeper fidelity. My dear brothers and sisters, keeping the readings, what is God intending to tell us? The first important thing God is intending to tell us is trust in God even in uncertainty. We are called to trust in God even in uncertainty. Like the Israelites who believed in God's promise before it was fulfilled, we too are called to trust in God's plan, especially during times of personal, social, or global uncertainty. Whether we face family issues, health crisis, or societal instability, faith in God's timing brings peace. The second important thing is stay spiritually awake and ready. Jesus' call to be dressed for action is a reminder to remain spiritually alert. In today's busy and distracted world, we must not lose sight of what really matters in our relationships with God and readiness to respond to His will at any moment. And so therefore, Jesus is inviting us to be awake and be ready. The third important thing, live as faithful steward, not an entitled owner. Whether in family, work, church, or society, we are caretakers of what God has entrusted to us, not owners. This includes our time, talents, possessions, and even our influence. Our faithfulness in small daily tasks matters deeply to God, and so therefore we are called to be faithful in whatever that is entrusted. The fourth important thing, pray together, walk together. The Israelites were delivered as a community of believers united in prayer. Today too, whether in our families, parishes, or faith groups, unity in prayer and mutual support is very much essential. We need each other to stay strong in faith amid today's challenges. The fifth important application for us, be generous and detach from materialism. Jesus' words about giving alms and seeking heavenly treasures speak directly to our materialistic culture. We are called to live with simplicity and generosity, especially towards the poor and marginalized, and to find our security not in wealth but in God. I wish you a very happy Sunday. May these readings bring joy in our lives and change in our actions, change in our daily life. Prison Ministry Sunday in the Archdiocese of Bangalore. Prison Ministry Sunday, observed on August 10th annually. It is a special day dedicated to remembering our brothers and sisters who are confined in prison. It serves as a call to the Church to live out Christ's message of mercy, compassion, and hope by reaching out to the imprisoned, their families, and the prison staff. As Jesus reminds us in the Gospel, I was in the prison and you visited me. We are all called to remember that no one is beyond the reach of God's love and redemption. This observance is an invitation to the faithful to actively support the Commission for Prison Ministry through prayer, awareness, and active involvement. It is also an opportunity for us to help restore dignity, healing, and reconciliation in the lives of those who are often forgotten by the society. In the Archdiocese of Bangalore, the day encourages the faithful to engage in this mission of compassion by standing in solidarity with the imprisoned and offering both spiritual and practical support. The volunteers of the prison ministry are permitted to make a second collection on Sunday, August 10th to help in their work and outreach. Let us mark this day not only with prayer but with concrete gestures of mercy, ensuring that the imprisoned know they are loved, remembered, and valued in the eyes of God and the Church. National Protest Day in the Archdiocese of Bangalore. The CBCI Office for SCSC, in collaboration with the National Council of Churches in India and the National Council of Dalit Christians, calls upon all Christian communities to observe August 10th as Black National Protest Day. This observance marks the historical injustice caused by the Constitution, that is Scheduled Caste Order of 1950, which excluded Christians and Muslims of scheduled caste origin from SC status solely because of their faith. Despite decades of suffering and deprivation of these constitutional rights, this discrimination continues even today. In this regard, a national protest will be held on 11th August 2024 at Jantar Mantar, New Delhi, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Archdiocese of Bangalore urges all parishes, institutions, and communities to join in solidarity, observing August 10th with prayer and awareness, and to submit memorandums to local authorities. This day is a moment for the faithful to stand united in seeking justice for our Dalit Christian brothers and sisters, raising a prophetic voice against ongoing injustice and calling for equality, dignity, and constitutional rights for all, regardless of faith. Let us mark this observance not merely as protest, but as the gospel mandates to proclaim liberty to captives and to defend the dignity of every child of God. Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, celebrated on August 15th, is a solemn and joyful celebration of Mary's being taken body and soul into heavenly glory at the end of her earthly life. It's a powerful sign of hope for all believers, reminding us of the destiny that awaits those who live in faithful union with Christ. Mary's Assumption is a testimony to her unique role in salvation history and her closeness to the Son, our Redeemer. This feast is also a holy day of obligation, and all the faithful are required to participate in the Holy Mass, giving thanks for the gift of our Blessed Mother and seeking her intercession for our spiritual and temporal well-being. As we celebrate Mary assumed into heaven, we are called to imitate her faith, humility, and obedience, and to look forward with hope to the fullness of life promised to us by Christ. In the Archdiocese of Bangalore, this day is not only a liturgical solemnity, but also an opportunity for the faithful to renew their devotion to Our Lady, to seek her maternal protection, and to entrust themselves and their families to her care. It's a day of joy, gratitude, and renewed commitment to live as disciples of her Son. Independence Day in the Archdiocese of Bangalore. Independence Day, celebrated on August 15th, is a moment of pride and gratitude for our nation's freedom, unity, and democratic values. It's a time to remember the sacrifices of countless men and women who fought with courage and vision to secure our liberty. As we hoist the national flag and sing the national anthem, we renew our commitment to build a just, inclusive, and peaceful India rooted in truth, equality, and respect for all. Let us pray for our leaders, citizens, and especially the youth, that together we may uphold the dignity of every person and work tirelessly for the common good. May God bless our country and guide it along the path of justice and peace. All parish priests and heads of institutions are kindly requested to hoist the national flag on August 15th in their respective campuses. Let this act be a visible expression of our respect and gratitude to the nation. In the Archdiocese of Bangalore, Independence Day is not only a civic celebration, but also a spiritual moment to thank God for the gift of our country and to seek His blessings upon our leaders and people. As we celebrate, let us pledge to be instruments of unity, peace, and harmony in our land. Saint of the Week, Feast of St. Lawrence, August 10th. The Feast of St. Lawrence, celebrated on August 10th, honors one of the most beloved deacons and martyrs of the early church. Serving as one of the 7 deacons of Rome under Pope St. Sixtus II in the 3rd century, Lawrence was entrusted with the caring for the church's treasures and distributing alms to the poor. When the Roman authorities demanded that he surrender the church's wealth, Lawrence boldly presented the poor, the sick, and the marginalized, declaring, "These are the true treasures of the church." His courage in defending the faith led to his martyrdom when he was roasted alive on a hot pan. His joyful spirit, even in suffering, made him one of the most venerated saints in the Christian history. St. Lawrence is the patron saint of deacons, cooks, the poor, and the city of Rome. His life teaches us to recognize the presence of Christ in the least of our brothers and sisters, to serve others with humility, and to stand firm in our faith in the face of opposition. His example challenges us to make acts of charity not out of mere duty, but out of love, seeing them as the true riches of the church. His devotion to the poor and his fearless proclamation of the gospel remain a model for the Christians everywhere. In the Archdiocese of Bangalore, the Feast of St. Lawrence invites us to pray for our deacons and all those in charitable ministries, that they may serve with the same faith and zeal as this holy martyr. It is also an occasion to renew our commitment to work for justice and mercy in our communities. As we celebrate this feast, let us seek His intercession for the church, for the poor, for the vulnerable in our midst, and for the courage to live out our Christian calling with generosity, faith, and joy. Jewels of the Archdiocese. In this episode of Jewels of the Archdiocese, we shall learn more about Assumption Church. The Church of Our Lady of Assumption was originally attached to the Immaculate Conception Church, that is the City Railway Colony. In 1967, the then parish priest of Immaculate Conception Church, Reverend Father Rebello, brought a piece of land in the second block, Rajaji Nagar. The foundation was laid on 15th August 1969, and on the 18th April 1971, dedicated to Our Lady of Assumption, was blessed and opened by Most Reverend Dr. Cardinal Lourdes Swami. The first parish priest was Reverend Father Jerome Lobo, who started a nursery school in 1971 and primary school in 1972. In order to attend the needs of the poor, he started a branch of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, an international organization with its headquarters at Paris, France. After his transfer in June 1978, Reverend Father Francis Michelapa, who later became the Bishop of Mysore, took charge of the parish for 2 years. He obtained permanent recognition from the Department of Education for Assumption English Primary School, 1st standard to 7th standard. In June 1980, Reverend Father K.C. Abraham took charge of the parish, and he took a special interest in the leper patients of Sumanalli Leper Colony, Magdi Road. Under his guidance, the Assumption Youth Association was started in 1985 to organize the feast days and for the development of the parish. In 1987, Reverend Father Patrick Digby was appointed as the parish priest, who took special interest in rectifying the irregular living of certain Catholics. In 1994, Reverend Father T.S. Amritaraj assumed charge as parish priest of the church and manager of the school. He successfully obtained permission from the government to start high school in August 1995 and recognition for the 8th standard in April 1996, subject to renewal periodically. In his tenure, the Silver Jubilee of the parish was celebrated. Reverend Father I. Chinnappa was parish priest from 1998 to 1999. Followed by Reverend Father Lawrence Narona, who took charge of the parish from 1999 to 2000, and again from 2006 to 2009. From 2000 to 2006, Reverend Father Michael was the parish priest who made the alteration in the church and extended the school building, which was blessed by Most Reverend Bernard Morris on 13th June 2005. Ground floor is used as parish and school office, first floor as classrooms, and the second floor as sacristy. The altar was renovated and given a new look in its time. During the second tenure of Reverend Father Lawrence Narona, he installed the railings with the rosary pictures around the altar. He also replaced the iron chairs to benches and pews, which added beauty to the church. In 2009, Monsignor S. Jainathan was appointed as parish priest and manager of the school, who started the education fund in the school and also formed a vibrant youth in the parish. At the same time, also started faith formation team called as Assumption Catechism Team to teach catechism to the children of the parish and the youth. After his transfer in 2011, Reverend Father Joseph Menezes took charge of the parish and the school, who made continuous water supply available by getting a bore well drilled. He got the new generator installed for the parish. According to the modern development of education of children, he installed the EduCom digital education system in the school and made an office for the nursery section. In his time, the new church bell was fixed and the family record book was renewed and published in 2013. At present, the parish is under the pastoral care of Reverend Father Balraj. We pray that God may bestow His abundant grace upon the parish so that it may flourish in faith and in love of God. I wish the parish priest and all the parishioners all God's blessing, and may God bless you all, keep united, and always work for God's glory.